Welcome everybody to Doves for Peace. Today we're going to do the third talk on using our voice for miracles and healing. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Jill Mattson. My website is jillswingsoflight.com. I've got all kinds of articles, free half hour of music, lots of videos, and many tips and information on how to use sound as an energy source. I have spent much of my life reading antiquity, and I am a musician and very psychic, and I was able to understand antiquity better because I could see it in terms of psychic phenomenon and music. What I learned by reading antiquity, and a lot of it, the mystic societies for China, Egypt, Samaria, Hindus, Incas, Mayans, was that they all used sound as an energy source. Not just an energy source, but as the most powerful energy source. They hid their sound secrets and what they could do with sound because they believed that it could be misused. And so they only wanted it in the hands of honorable people. But now is the time when this information is to be spread amongst the whole world so that we may be aware of sound and how it benefits us and changes others, our earth and our lives, and so that we cannot be controlled by sound, that we'll be aware enough to be worried to not allow others to use it against us. Okay, so that's my little intro. And on Doves for Peace, we always start with a prayer for peace. But before I do, I want to give you a little tidbit of information from Valerie Hunt. Valerie Hunt was a beautiful lady. She's recently passed. She had, I think 3 PhDs, very learned woman. And she was studying sound. She had an aura machine that could measure the subtle energy in your fields. And she was able to correlate different voice ranges with different benefits. She studied and researched and found that people with a low voice have that energy supports their health. It is a sound that invigorates the muscles, the bones, the tissues within your body. This is a deep voice, is a great voice for an athlete. Those people with a middle range of a voice tend to be more mental. This is a great pitch range, not too high, not too low. For those of us in average interests, it supports mental acuity. It's a good voice for professors and for teachers. For people who are very intuitive, they don't have the bottom tones in their voice. As you can hear in mine, I am combining the energy of my third eye, my dreamy state, the state where I come up with really cool ideas, and I am combining that energy in my voice. It's kind of like a feedback loop. My voice supports my intuition, and my intuition characterizes my voice. So, with that in mind, we're going to do a prayer in form of affirmation. And we're going to alter the pitch range of our voice. First affirmation is going to say that we are full of health and vitality. And we're going to say this with a very low-pitched voice, the lowest we can. I am healthy and full of vitality. I am healthy and I feel vibrant and alive. After you speak in a deep voice like that, you can almost feel it energize, kind of give your body a little buzz. It's good for you. Next, we're going to try an affirmation in our mid voice. So here we go. My memory is outstanding. I remember more and more each day. My brain is healthy and vibrant. So how did that feel? I'm feeling a little buzz in my head. So we'll try another one here in the mid voice. I have all the income I need. I live in abundance, be it financial, be it abundance of the heart, be it the abundance of healthy body. I live in abundance. And just ingest that feeling. Okay, here goes our third set of affirmations in a high voice, whatever high voice is comfortable for you. I have all the ideas to have a happy, exciting, full, and rich life. I come up with ideas to solve my problems, whether they be of health, or whether they be for finance, or whether they be for romance. I am grateful that I can draw upon this dreamy energy and be extremely creative, blessing myself and blessing you and blessing others. Okay, so that's our prayer for this session. And let's just remind ourselves, when we need health, we need to take our voice and make it very full and deep. And as we speak, we will increase our vitality and strength and health. And when we're being creative, we need to change our voice and have kind of whispery, dreamy voice. And when we pray, we can change the pitch range of our voice. And that will amplify our connection with God, with Jesus, with whomever we're praying. It will amplify our connection and vibrate both of us for benefits. Okay. So now I'm going to just remind you that this is our third session on healing with the voice, and next time we're going to go on using sound to heal our body. But we've got a few little items to finish up on the fabulous, miraculous miracle we have hidden in our own voice. The first thing we're going to talk about is the voice of truth. And I remember when I was younger, I always used to hear the phrase, the truth sets us free. And I remember hearing it a lot, but truthfully, I really didn't understand what it meant. But now I do, and I'm going to share that with you. But before we answer the deeper meaning of that, we're going to talk about the sound in your voice when you're not telling the truth. You can go to nanovoice.org, N-A-N-O, voice, V-O-I-C-E.org, and download Sherry Edwards' free software program called the Nano Voice. It doesn't work on Macs. She doesn't have that available. And I had to buy a $19 computer to make it work on my computer. I don't know if that helps you. But the software breaks your voice down into component pitches. We think our voice is just one tone, one pitch, but it's actually maybe thousands and thousands of little tiny vibrations within our body that all combine. Ever wonder why everybody's voice is so different, so unique, just like a fingerprint? The vagus nerve, which is one of the major nerves, main drag in the internet system of your body, the nerve system, goes right through your vocal cords. And all of the information of your health of your body, for the most part, goes right through your vocal cords. So it shares the information within your body. And when you break your voice out into component pitches on this free software from Sherry Edwards at Nano Voice, you'll see that you don't have an even distribution of musical notes. Your voice will break down into the notes of a scale, like A, B, C, D, and so forth, like you're singing. And since we all have a personality, we have certain strengths and weaknesses, and they will be reflected in the Nano Voice. For different musical notes correspond to different emotions and also to different colors. And to make that real simple, if you think of sound being cycles per second, and any time the sound waves double, you have what's called an octave. Bum bum, same note, just higher or lower. So you can take your sound of your voice and just keep doubling it till it's in the range of light. And then you can see what colors are in your voice, for light breaks down into colors. Your emotions are also an octave, and that's reflected in our language. I was red with anger. I'm green with envy. Oh, I feel blue today. Oh, I feel so sunny and yellow today. We all know what those colors mean. We equate them to emotions, and that is accurately so. So, to sum that all up, in our voice is the detailed information of everything within us. Everything in our physical body, our emotional body, and also our thoughts. When Sherry does voice prints, when you're saying a great big fat lie, the notes of A, sharp, and E will be absent in your voice print. So she was able to, through many, many repeats, notice a consistent sonic pattern in your voice if you're lying. Now, that's really cool because you can tape people running for candidate for office and check out how true they are in their speeches with this Nano Voice. It's a little awkward, though, if you're in a conversation with someone to run and turn on the Nano Voice to see if they're telling you the truth. I have found that if you really pay attention to someone, you will notice that their voice changes when they're not in truth. It's almost like when you tell a lie, you don't want anybody to know you did. You're being kind of sneaky about it. I find that your voice flattens out. It doesn't have the high and low pitches. It's kind of sneaky. Think of a little snake slithering along. My name is Bob. See how I kind of flatten my voice out? That's a common thing that happens to people's voices when they're lying. Another thing is that they sometimes swallow their air. Hi, my name's Bob. Whereas I can say my name is Jill, and the sound is shooting right across the room. My name is Bob, just doesn't go too far. It's like if I'm going to be lying, I don't want to be too showy so I don't get caught. So if you learn loved ones' habits, you can tell when the truth falls out of their voice. The sound gets thinner and it gets closer to their mouth. So that's a little bit of help. There's another man who did research on speaking your truth. His name was David Oates. His story is that in the 70s, he was in the car and his tape deck was broken and he was bored. And he pushed it on, forgetting that it was broken, and it was playing backwards. As it played backwards, he noted that there were sentences and phrases in it. Anyway, that piqued his interest, and he spent his life studying that. You can get a free program called Audacity, and you can experiment with trying to reverse your voice. Now, I do know that not only did he reverse the voice, but he had to change the pitch a little bit, so you might have to take your pitch up or down. But one of the things that I like about his research was that when you lie, the truth comes out in your reverse speech. But really, there's a much broader picture of truth and not truth than just a simple lie. I think the bigger picture is that the real lies are done between us and ourselves. When we don't want to face a fault that we have, when we don't want to remember something bad, when we're afraid of something and we don't want to recall it or connect with it, when someone's hurt us and we say, oh, no problem, and it still hurts. Those are the kind of situations where we hide our truth. It's not so much lying or telling the truth. It's so much being capable and able to look at pain and difficult things and forgive ourselves, forgive others, and blow it away. And that, to me, is full truth. That, to me, is the answer to the truth shall set you free. For if we could have a voice which there was no reverse speech, which our huge subconscious mind didn't have all these past trauma, past pain, past lack of forgiveness, even for ourselves, past lack of understanding. This negative energy, it's balled up and it's inside. It's within us. And it's weighting us down. If we're going to be the light to the world, we need to get rid of this crap. We need to release the negativity within our subconscious mind. One of my life gifts has been to create the healing flower symphonies. I have 2 of them. And I went exactly after this purpose. I got into the Bach flower remedies, and Dr. Edmund Bach was a medical physician in England who was not satisfied with medicine as giving prescriptions. And he was introduced to some indigenous tribes, and they were using flower energy like we use drugs. For example, a daisy is cheerful and a rose is beautiful. So if you needed cheering up, you would surround yourself with daisies or drink daisy energy. And they captured the energy of the flower by having the flower in pure, pristine water at dawn and letting the sun soak through and then drinking the water that would be infused with the flower's energy. And later science confirms that that would indeed work. And you can buy them now. Get online, there's all kinds of flower essences. They're emotional healing. They presume that you can heal everything in your body by having perfect set of emotions, that this is the window to heal everything. It is certainly a window to heal things in your body. So in my flower symphonies, I got the frequencies of flower remedies, of the flowers themselves, and put it in music. So it's akin to taking the flower remedy. So and then I selected 12 flowers that Edmund Bach said were the soul flowers that would clear the lessons that people have come to Earth to learn. So I got the whole set in these 2 CDs of these emotions. And then I went to the ancient Greeks who did cathartic music. And what they would do is that they would feel a negative emotion. And I always try to imagine like a little ghosty hand coming in, and wherever I have an emotion that's negative, let's say a heartache would be around my heart, I see this little ghosty hand and it kind of like shaking and trying to break it free. This little tiny subtle energy is caught behind muscles, tissues, bones. And when I vibrate it, it has a chance to loosen and let go from my fields and leave me and transform into something better. So with these 12 healing flowers, I start with a cathartic release. For example, impatience. The music sounds impatient. It makes you feel impatience. Now we all have the intent to release, which is very important in this process. And so you feel the impatience, and then you can let it go with your intent. And then I go into the music changes and it becomes that of patience. And it also is embedded with the frequencies of the emotions of impatience. So like you're bombarding your emotional fields with patience. I have hundreds and hundreds of testimonies on these. And most people say sometimes they can listen to them once and they'll start to discard their negative emotions. Sometimes they'll have to listen to them several times. When they're getting ready to discharge some real nasty stuff, they feel pretty crappy, and it's just for a little bit. But to heal it, you must feel it. So, if you're afraid or want to keep all your pain, don't imbibe in the healing flower remedies. And again, people have told me that they feel this terrible building up of pressure, and then they release their pain, and their life opens up, and they regain their life. I can tell you another little story. I worked in a nursing home for a while, and I was practicing with my music. The audience that I had, they were considered high functioning, but they kind of looked frozen. I mean, they could walk, some of them, and they walked in to hear me play because they had to. And I played live violin, and all they wanted to hear was very, very sad stuff. Like they were ready to beat me with their canes if I played something happy. And they never spoke, not to each other and not to me, for 6 months. Anyway, so we get in there and we have our whining sessions with the live music. And about 6 months in, a few of them started to talk to me. And that was the first. I thought, maybe I was warming up to them. But within weeks, they were all talking, and it became a very noisy place. It was chatterbox. They were like normal. They had normal social skills instead of being isolated. I believe it was the sad music that made the shift. They had had a lifetime of pain, and here they were stuck in a nursing home. And the sad music helped them to touch it, vibrate it, shake it loose, let it go. And when they let it go, they were able to regain their emotional fields and their emotional life. Wow, what a blessing. So that is what my gift of the Healing Flower Symphonies are. And you can find them on jillswingsoflight.com. And each flower symphony is for a different song. And I'm very creative. Like one goes from fear to trust. And I was just creative. And I taped a heartbeat for trust because I felt that to create the music of trust, the heartbeat is something you trust. It's something that's always been with you. It's never not failed you. And so I taped it. It's actually part of the music. And the trust part is a symphony of the heartbeat. And so I'm just very creative in the music, and I think you'll find it beautiful. And what a way to heal. You can let go of awful, painful memories without even thinking of the memory. You don't have to think what old Frank did, or that person, she was a na. You don't have to go there. Just go to the emotion. Forget the incident and the specifics. Feel it. And let it go. We can do this. And then we become more light. So we have greater energy, greater miracles and blessings for ourselves and all those around us and the earth herself. And that's very important for us. But it's also very important for others. And I remember hearing a speaker, it was on a YouTube, and I don't remember much, but this was the gist of it. The idea was that, wait a minute, my computer just blanked out, so I don't know if you're getting me, so I am going to sign in again. Okay, I'm there. Alrighty, here we go again. Okay, I was talking about the speaker, and he was doing muscle testing, and he was coming up with the total frequency, the light. He was quantifying the light in different people, and he used Jesus as the benchmark, saying that Jesus was like a unit of 1,000. I don't know, 1,000, I don't know, somethings of light. And then he looked and he was telling the story of World War II, and he was saying that the man with the most units of light at that time was Winston Churchill during World War II. He was a 500, according to this speaker. And he said that the Allies won the war because we had someone with a 500 on our side, that someone that could emulate this much light and power could actually tip the scale in a worldwide event. I like to think that there's veracity in that story. I'm on, okay. Anyway, I like to think that there's veracity in that story, and I also liken it to the cycles per second in the piano. If you look at the low pitches in a piano, maybe there's 100 cycles per second in an octave, bum bum. And then if you look in the higher cycles of light, and you're going to go dum dum, like higher than my voice, you do the same thing. You do an octave, you just double. You might double 10,000 cycles per second. 100 versus 10,000 cycles per second, big difference. If you look at the math, as you go up octaves in sound, you go up exponentially. So if we can become a brighter light, even just a little bit, we make a difference. Not just for ourselves, but for you, for everyone, for the whole earth, when we pray. So us getting rid of our negative garbage is a huge, huge, huge accomplishment and blessing all around. So I would encourage you to think about that catharsis. I also wanted to give you one more tool on the voice, because this session we're going to wrap up healing and blessing people in our worlds with our voice. So, whole new subject. We're going to go back to ancient China and with Lao Tzu. And the people in antiquity, in these ancient mystery schools, were very aware of subtle energy. They were very psychic. They felt that was a gift from God. And they used that for their health. they believed that the subtle energy was the blueprint for the physical world. So they could go in and change subtle energy because it's malleable. It's easy to bend. It's like water. It takes shapes. And they could change it. And then if they did it enough repeats, if they did it enough times, if they gave the energy enough volume, then it would form into matter. So they categorized energy, all the subtle energy they felt in every possible situation, and they gave it names. And the names are the names of elements, like metal, air, water, fire, and earth. And I always had a hard time with this, because then I would look in the Hindu system, and they did the same thing, but they would have different elements. The elements is just kind of like a tag to try to divide types of energy. It's a name. You have to get beyond those little details and look at that the feeling of different subtle feelings that we can all feel, and somehow categorizing them with any kind of name. We could call them Bob and Frank for that matter, and then use them in a purposeful, meaningful way. So, with that in mind, it's okay that people have different elements, elemental healing energy. So, I'm going to talk about how ancient people would heal with the sound of their voice, how the miracle was them speaking it so. And the Chinese, their original feng shui was musical feng shui, it was sound feng shui. And here we go. The voice of metal. A metal voice is very clear and very resonant. If you were 50 feet away from me, you could hear me now. My voice, if it was a water pistol, is shooting way across the room. It's a great voice to command attention and to keep a class awake if you're a teacher. Okay. Now we're going to try air. The airy voice is uplifting. It's very energetic. It's not grounded. The person who has an airy voice is somehow floating above. They don't have the strong and deep energy of the roots of the earth. It's very intoxicating. It's soothing and healing voice. Okay, next voice. Water. The water voice is very kind. It also is soothing. It's intoxicating. It's very healing. It links words and ideas. It's so smooth. It's easygoing. It's very, it's like it's easy to be with the person in the water voice. Fire. The fire voice can transmit joy. It can be very exciting and liberating. It can also be very alarming and scary to listen to. The fire voice is just full of excitement. That's a good voice to speak with someone who is depressed, because they'll pick up that energy. But that's ahead of myself. Okay, on to the earth voice. The earth voice is deep, it's still. It resonates with the core of earth and nature. It is strong, it has security, quietude. It's slow moving. Okay, now I'm going to go back for just a second. Metal voice. I would like you to make a metal voice. Try making a metal voice just for a sec. You have to do it to own it. Okay, now try an airy voice. Just try an airy voice. Go ahead, try it. See if you can do it. I know you can. Okay, we ready? Let's try the water. Take your voice pitch up and down as if you're just rocking in a boat, perhaps being rocked in the arms by your mother. Very soothing. Now you try. Okay, the fire voice. Let's do the fire voice. What do you want to do today? Hey, let's go to town. Let's do this. Now you try the fire voice. Okay, next one is the earth voice. I want you to talk deep and slow. Go to a place of stillness. This is a great voice to use when you don't want someone to push you around. Now you try it. Alrighty then. Now you can play the video back and practice them. You will have to practice them so that they become a habit, so that you can use them without thinking. If not, it'll just be another interesting video, ta-ta, and you'll forget it soon. This can change your life if you hold on to it. Okay, now how did the ancient Chinese use these elemental voices? You can get online at Chinese Feng Shui or Elemental Healing, and they'll have a picture of a 5-pointed star. And the star on the tips has each one of these 5 elements: the fire, earth, metal, water. I think the Chinese might even have wood. So anyway, then you will find that on a tip of a star, if you take a line to another tip of a star, a straight line with no bends, that's the element that will amplify another. For example, water amplifies, or no, that's the energy that dampens, excuse me, silly me. That's the energy that dampens another. So water, for example, if you take a straight line, it's going to go right to fire. Water will put out fire. So if somebody is blowing off in anger, and they're screaming and yelling in a fire voice, it almost doesn't matter what you say. That if you use the water voice, you can even tell them they're kind of being stupid. But the tone of your voice is so reassuring, and the sounds of your voice combine with their energy fields, and you're going to take them down immediately after they get a good enough dose of your voice. So with this little feng shui chart that you can find online, you can find which voice will undo another. And that's very helpful, because a fire person can get to the point of hysteria and anger and lose their temper. An earth person can get depressed, can't move, just stuck. A metal person can be like, again, stuck, only in a hard, piercing way. A water person can be very depressed. And so you can use these different voices to change the people you're speaking. You can bless them. You can do your healing treatment with your voice. Let's say you're a massage therapist or a practitioner, a health practitioner. The voice you use while you do your craft amplifies your healing, and not a little, amplifies it a lot. You can use these voices to heal not only others, but to heal yourself. So if you're depressed, you need to take your voice up and down and have this kind of bouncy energy. Put a little fire in that voice, and you will be able to swing your mood without consuming any substance or medicine. So that is my gift for today. So, I'm going to just summarize a little bit what we learned. We started off with a prayer, and we learned about Valerie Hunt's ranges of pitches in your voice: high, medium, and low. And we've remembered that when we pray, when we speak, we can alter the pitch in our voice and amplify the power of our statements, our opinions, our thoughts, our prayers. Then we went in to talking about the sound in your voice when you're lying. And we discussed Sherry Edwards' nanovoice.org, where you can look at the pitches composing your speaking voice. And that A sharp and E, if those are absent, you're not in your truth. And truth is a little bit more than a bold-faced lie. Truth is accepting all the things you don't want to accept. And it's taking a view into our subconscious mind where there's all kinds of stuff that's hidden, and addressing it one by one, looking at them, loving them, blessing them, letting all the negativity go, lightening up, becoming more powerful. We talked about David Oates and reverse speech, and how you can play with the Audacity program to see if you can't come up with the phrases and words that would represent your subconscious mind in your reverse speech. We suggested the idea that the truth sets you free is being true on every level, even the unseen levels, and that makes us a much more powerful being and light in this world. We talked about how the story about Winston Churchill being a 500 and being a very bright light, and how that if someone's a bright light, unbeknownst to them, simply their presence on the earth makes a difference, and a big one. So you amplifying your light is not a small thing. We talked about catharticism and releasing negative energy in your subconscious mind. I suggested my Healing Flower Symphonies. There's a free sample, 10 minutes or so of one of the flower remedies on my site, jillswingsoflight.com. Then we ended up with a tool from Lao Tzu from many thousands of years ago. Feng Shui, but Feng Shui in your voice. And we talked about the elemental voices and using the Feng Shui charts of which type of element or energy feeds another and which element detracts or undoes another. And we practice talking in elemental voices so that you can be a blessing daily every time you open your mouth. Wow, isn't that beautiful? So I send you my love and my blessings and my prayers, and we shall end this session. And I thank you.